Okay, so let's talk about that feeling, when you're just kind of staring at maybe a few different credit card bills.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
And the due dates are all a bit of a blur. You're not totally sure what the final number is. And there's that little worry about surprise charges popping up. Does that ring a bell?
It really does. It's that mental load, isn't it? Just keeping track of it all, trying to, stay on top of things. It's a real thing for so many people.
Well, today we're actually going to dive deep into something that might maybe change that whole game. We've got this design case study from Google Pay.
Right, from a product manager there.
Exactly. And they basically outlined this vision, this idea for a feature that's specifically meant to make handling your credit card bills, well, way smoother.
That's like a peek behind the curtain, yeah. Seeing how a big tech company like Google is thinking about this every day, kind of frustrating thing.
Totally. And our mission today really is to unpack that for you, for the listener, to see how their ideas try to hit those pain points we all know.
And maybe find a few of those aha moments along the way, see what the potential benefits could actually be.
Okay, so first things first, the big question. Why? Why is Google Pay even getting into this whole credit card bill payment space?
Yeah, it's a good question. And what's pretty interesting is the logic behind it. I mean, Google Pay is already huge,
Oh
right?
yeah, people use it for tons of stuff.
Your coffee, paying friends back, subscriptions,
Mhm.
all that. So the ambition, it seems, is to kind of make it the one-stop shop, the central place for, all your financial interactions.
That actually makes a lot of sense if you're in the app already doing other payments.
Why not manage your credit cards there, too?
Yeah.
Exactly. And the case study points to a couple of big trends pushing this. First, just the sheer number of people using credit cards keeps going up significantly.
More people have them.
And second, you've got the boom in those buy now, pay later services, BNPL.
Yeah, those are everywhere now.
So both of those things point to this large and growing group of people who are actively using credit in different ways.
So basically a big potential audience with a real need for something simpler.
Absolutely. And the whole philosophy seems very consumer first. The idea is to take this process, which, let's face it, can be clunky and confusing, and just make it way easier and more transparent for you.
Which down the line probably means people use the app more, making it more valuable for Google too, I imagine.
Of course, yeah. Better user engagement, a stickier platform. That's usually the goal.
Okay, now the study also talks about who they think this would help the most. Who are these target users they had in mind?
Yeah, they highlighted a couple of specific user personas, which I think really helps illustrate the different ways this could be useful. First up is Preeti.
Pretty bright.
She's 28, works as a dietitian, but also has a YouTube channel, so she does a lot of online shopping.
Right, probably buying equipment, supplies, maybe personal stuff too. Lots of different transactions.
Exactly. And she likes using installment options, EMIs. She uses her credit cards quite a bit to manage her spending, especially because her income can kind of fluctuate.
Okay. So for someone like her.
Keeping track of multiple different payment schedules, really understanding where the money's going, that's super important. This kind of feature could give her that clarity she needs.
Yeah, because those little payments can add up fast and get confusing. Okay, and who was the other main persona?
The other one is Rahul. He's described as youthful, active, lives in a major city, a tier 1 city, where Google Pay is already really common.
Okay.
But what's interesting about Rahul's profile is the study acknowledges that not everyone gets formal financial education early on.
That's such a good point. We often just assume people know how to manage money, how credit works.
But they don't always. So for someone like Rahul, this feature could be incredibly helpful. It gives structure, guidance for managing his credit card payments. It's almost like practical financial literacy built right into an app he probably uses daily anyway.
Yeah. A helping hand built right in. Okay, so we get the why and the who. Let's dig into the actual problems. What are the specific challenges with credit card bills that this whole idea is trying to solve?
Well, the study lays out quite a few pain points they found in the, typical user journey. A really big one is just remembering the due dates.
Oh, yeah. Especially if you have more than one card.
Exactly. People end up scrambling, trying to pay everything right at the last minute, which, increases the risk you might miss one, or it just causes a lot of stress.
Totally. It feels like juggling knives sometimes.
And tied to that is not really knowing the total amount you owe across all cards until that last minute. You get statements separately, right? Email, different bank websites.
Yeah, it's not consolidated.
Right. So it's hard to get that single picture, which adds to that end-of-month pressure.
And then the classic unwelcome surprise. Extra fees.
Ugh, yes. People are often just unaware of late fees or, importantly, the interest charges until they actually see them on the statement.
Yeah.
That lack of upfront warning is super frustrating.
Definitely.
And even the statements themselves, sometimes the descriptions for what you bought are really unclear.
Right, like POS purchase transaction 123, what was that?
Exactly. You end up playing detective with your own spending, trying to remember what that charge was actually for.
It's true. And the study also mentioned something interesting psychologically.
Yeah, the disconnect, right, between the sort of thrill of buying something with the card.
The instant gratification.
Yeah. And then the later reality of actually having to pay the bill, that excitement can kind of mask the fact that it's real debt you're taking on.
It doesn't always feel like real money in that moment, does it?
That's a really key insight they pulled out.
Yeah.
And finally, they point out that sometimes there just aren't strong enough reasons or incentives for people to pay the full amount on time, every time.
Which is obviously better for your financial health in the long run.
Crucial, yeah.
Okay, so those are the problems they're targeting. Now, for the good stuff, what are the actual solutions Google Pay is proposing? How would this work inside the app?
This is where it gets really practical. So first up, just making it super easy to add your credit cards to Google Pay. They're thinking like a simple scan card feature. You point your phone camera, maybe tap twice, and boom, it's added.
Wow, 2 taps. That's way better than typing in that long number and expiry date.
Totally. Designed for minimum friction. And they mentioned leveraging existing integrations with major banks to make it smooth.
Makes sense.
Then, the really critical part, getting the transaction data.
Right, so the app knows what you owe and when.
Exactly. The proposal is to work with Visa and MasterCard, the big networks, to get those details, transactions, due dates, amounts. Now, they do acknowledge, especially for a market like India where UPI payments are so dominant,
Yeah, UPI is huge there.
they might need to offer some initial incentives, give people a reason to actually link their cards for this purpose within Google Pay, beyond just convenience.
Gotcha. Little carrot to get started.
Precisely. Then, to tackle those missed due dates and the unclear balance problem.
The reminders.
Yes, they suggest showing the total amount you owe clearly right at the start of the month. And then prominent reminders for upcoming due dates inside the Google Pay app.
Which people open a lot anyway.
Right, maybe like a banner that shows up, say, 3 days before it's due, and potentially even linking those reminders to your Google Calendar if you use that.
Oh, that's smart. Multiple touch points.
That proactive approach could really cut down on accidental missed payments, you'd think.
Absolutely. Having it right there where you look often. That could make a real difference.
And then encouraging full payments? Remember we talked about that?
Yeah, nudging people towards paying the whole balance.
So the system would prompt you,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to pay the full amount? And crucially, it would also clearly show you the potential interest you'd rack up if you only pay part of it.
Ah, showing the cost of carrying a balance.
Exactly. And any hidden fees, too. Making those financial consequences really transparent. That transparency alone could be a big eye-opener for some folks.
Yeah, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah,
Especially with finances.
couldn't agree more. Then there's the idea of transaction insights.
Okay, what does that mean?
So the app could analyze your spending data and give you summaries like, here are your most frequent purchases, or these are your top spending categories.
Oh, like, wow, I spent that much on restaurants last month.
Exactly. Or here are the shops you visit most often. Maybe even alerts if, say, your spending on non-essential stuff suddenly jumps up.
Interesting. Like a little financial check-in.
Yeah. And they're even looking at ways to offer some insights, even if they don't get super detailed transaction data for every single card initially. So it's not just about paying the bill, it's about helping you actually understand your habits.
So it becomes more than just a payment tool.
Yeah.
It's moving towards, like, financial wellness support.
That seems to be the direction. And building on that, they proposed an optional budgeting feature.
Okay, like setting spending limits.
Yeah, you could create monthly budgets for different categories, groceries, entertainment, whatever, and then get alerts if you're getting close to your limit.
That could be really useful.
And they even had this cute visual idea, a saving tree, that kind of grows as positive reinforcement when you stick to your budget.
Ah, gamification.
Yeah.
That actually works for a lot of people.
Right.
Makes it feel less like a chore.
Exactly. Makes budgeting maybe a bit more engaging, less restrictive.
Okay, what else? Rewards.
Yep. To provide those incentives we mentioned, they're thinking about post-payment rewards and personalized offers using Google's ad platform, basically.
So maybe discounts on Google storage or credits somewhere.
Could be things like that, yeah. Tailored offers. And one last thing, enabling really high-value payments via credit card, specifically over 1 lakh rupees in India.
Ah, okay. So expanding the utility for bigger purchases too. It sounds like a pretty comprehensive package, actually.
It really does. A whole suite of features trying to tackle the credit card management process from multiple angles.
So quite a few ideas on the table there. How did they figure out what to do first? Did the study mention prioritization?
It did, briefly. They mentioned using a framework, I think it was called RICE.
Rice.
Yeah, it stands for Reach, Impact, Confidence, and Effort. It's a common way product teams prioritize. So the initial focus, it seems, was really on the basics, just getting the core stuff working so you can pay your credit card bills through Google Pay.
Building the foundation.
Right. And making it different somehow. Rewards were seen as a good place to start for incentives, partly because Google already has the tech for that from UPI rewards.
Ah, less new work needed there.
Exactly. But the transaction insights, that was highlighted as a key differentiator, something that adds real value beyond just the payment itself.
Making it smarter than just a payment button.
Right. And the budgeting feature, while valuable, was seen as more of a maybe version 2 thing, something to add later for more personalized control once the main payment and insight features were solid.
That makes sense. Get the core right, then add the bells and whistles.
Hmm.
Okay, so we've gone through the problem, the potential users, the proposed solutions. After this whole deep dive, what are the main takeaways for someone listening? What's the bottom line for you?
Well, I think the biggest potential here is just a much more organized and transparent way to handle your credit cards. Maybe even rewarding sometime.
Yeah, less chaos, more clarity.
Exactly. Those features we talked about, the reminders, the clear balance, showing the interest costs, the spending insights, they directly target those common frustrations.
The things that make managing credit cards feel like a hassle.
Right. And bringing all that into one place, an app many people already use constantly,
Yeah.
that could seriously lead to better financial awareness, a stronger sense of actually being in control of your credit.
Absolutely. It feels like it could shift things from being, reactive and kind of stressful toward something more proactive, more insightful, just part of managing your money smartly.
That's the potential, definitely.
So here's something maybe to chew on, a final thought.
Hmm.
If this kind of integration happened, if all your credit card info was right there, easily accessible in an app like Google Pay, how do you think that might actually change your spending habits? Or your bigger financial planning? What other, maybe unexpected insights, those other aha moments, might pop up for you personally when you have that level of consolidated information right at your fingertips?